So here we are, once again, playing a thrilling game of let's check out the camp, as it were. In this particular episode of Sept of the Red Branch Knights, we are setting scene out in the Ford camp, base camp, whatever you'd like to call it, where, well outside of the Sept itself, many of the packs have made a forward move, initially splitting to cut off various supply routes, various potential sources of reinforcements for the enemy, and have since then collected together to make camp. There's still, of course, the patrols going this way, going that way, making sure that those lines aren't reestablished, that we aren't cut off ourselves. But rather than focus on those necessary details, we're going to bring the camera in as Maeve has had a chance to speak to her packmates, talk to Kira, even taken some time aside with Seamus, at least for a little while. Have a talk that she needed to make sure happened, so that when everything was finished here and they all went home, maybe it would help with his perspective on how he wanted to proceed when they all walked back in. There's no better time to effect a change, whatever kind of change it needed to be. But, those touching conversations gone, even in the middle of the night, she is not going to hesitate to wade through the tents, carefully sliding past, not trying to wake anyone up, not trying to distract them from whatever they might be about. She'll begin wading through, looking for, well, in the end, Daniel's tent.
It's not hard to find, honestly. Is the one with the large opponent symbol on it? Probably since he's the commander.
A funny thing how one could clearly mark the commander of a particular particular mission. So clearly.
Some people give out about saying it's an easy target for the enemy, but some people are just like, nah, they're not going to attack yet. Mostly, though, you will also find is if you anyway took a peek over at the Umbra, you'll see the Right Masters going around overseeing Umbral defense as well, and then some of the other tiers such as Blackbriar are going around and healing people. Some people took a bit of nicking and a bit of nasty wounds on their particular run through. So, it's been no casualties, some minor wounds, some that were a bit more serious than others, but nothing that the tier just couldn't handle. So far it's been a successful first incursion. But as you get to Daniel's tent, there's a second where you open up the flap and, you see the young Macnessa. Probably just sitting down after you imagine just by the way his posture is, just after slumping down after a beating, you know what I mean?
Yeah, she must at least take the time to pause and make sure she's not interrupting an active conversation, but...
No, you just see him kind of slumping down the chair. You can see the armor has been put on its stand. He's probably only just gotten out of it, if anything.
It is, she downplayed how much good it would do her to see him all in one piece. Much like looking across and seeing for the first time that the Right Master is fine. She's okay. And it's a ton of weight off of her shoulders. So when she does, just pull the tent flap back and take a peek to make sure she's not jumping in where she shouldn't be. Just seeing him all right, even if it's slumped down, even if it's exhausted, it's still enough to give her a bit of a smile. She essentially properly begins to pull it open and offers a, hey.
Great glance up. He just gives a smile. Kind of does that awkward, like, oh shit, he kind of stands up, you know what I mean?
You've been standing all day, haven't you?
Well, one always should make sure they should rise in the presence of a princess.
as bashful as it makes her, she knows better than to fight him on it. He will not give an inch. But she'll go ahead and let herself in. Slide in, let the temp flat fall. Glad to see you all in one piece.
For the most part. I'm
Are there
glad to see
pieces you lost?
Ah, something I could not handle.
So, in fair warning, I'm gonna throw propriety to the wind now. And she just finally takes the good quick step and just goes for the hug.
Yeah, he kind of you let you thump into him. He just when you can hear it's like that wince. You know what I mean? That kind of initial reaction when someone accidentally just bumps something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she does she pulls back pretty quickly at the winds. She's alert to that kind of thing. Any idea of where she hit or whatever that might have triggered it?
Lower part of his rib cage. So you loop your arms around for that kind of body
Mm-hmm.
hug. Imagine you're probably one of your arms pressed on it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the first thing that happens is that grip just immediately just loosens. She doesn't smack the arms outwards, but
I'll give you this bit of credit. The undershirt he's wearing is kind of one of them light shirts. You do see the little red stains forming.
you are missing a bit, aren't you?
It's a minor wound. It's nothing. There are from those that were far more in need of healing than I was.
Yeah, it's that whole I get to go into Theurge mode, which means I totally get to just fucking pick up your shirt and check.
I mean, you can. It's a nasty fucking gash wound on his side. Wouldn't call it life threatening, but oof, it's about 3 lethals worth.
Yeah, it's just the kind of wince of oh, when she gets the shirt up.
It's
No,
not
didn't it?
healing quite. It's not healing quite like it should. I imagine that was my mistake.
I kind of assumed maybe you just hadn't been able to stop long enough to shift up and do it.
Hence my mistake. Use a weary smile.
Oh. Wherever he was sitting is, I assume, some sort of easy pop-up table with a chair or
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
All right. Did you find one of the spirals too?
We did. Ran into several of their minions and even one of the larger ones. Like I said, it was hit and run tactics. I took a nasty wound on the exit strategy. Nicked across my side, probably pierced the under gap of the armor.
Yeah, and just before sitting, she does take a second to actually crane down and make sure there's nothing in there that won't readily come
No,
out.
no. It looks there's no resin. It looks like a slash. You know what I mean? It caught right. If you actually look at his armor, it caught right in the gap. You know what I mean?
All right. If I sit down, will you let yourself sit too?
I make no promises. He eases down.
It's a bit of a grin, and she'll do the same. Essentially, just pull the other chair a bit closer so she can sit nearby. We did at least manage to take down the one. It's not one of the ones I'd known about in detail, but
I read the report.
yeah.
Just gives a weary smile. That is not why I called you over.
All right.
I thought we could relax as friends, not as commander and soldier.
That would be nice.
And then stop ruining the moment, Maeve. Gives a smile as he closes his
Grin.
eyes.
Sorry. It's force of habit.
Closes his eyes as he's smiling.
I'm very good at ruining the moment.
You are.
You know what? Just because it's not technically needed, but until he takes a minute to ease up into another shape, it's gonna keep bleeding. Is there something she can do to at least like gauze and bandage to just be like, we'll just keep the blood inside
You can
until
totally, yeah.
Yeah.
You could totally just mother's touch him for the laugh and just make him heal.
You know what?
You
I'm
know
really,
how stubborn.
really
You know how
tempted.
that's stubborn that motherfucker is.
Yeah. There's like a hot moment he leans back and closes his eyes and here. You're still not gonna fix it, are you?
I will do so when I am ready.
You're so stubborn.
Indeed.
I don't see how bleeding does you any good. She does like, you know what, you lay there with your head back and I'm just gonna pull one of these out of my bag because I have almost no gnosis left, and I'm just gonna it's one of those things where yeah, we're safe at camp, but it is a Ford camp. She doesn't want to be utterly without in case there's an emergency. So essentially she'll take the roll route of like, please work. And just in her one hand as she just reaches over to touch him with the other. Just lays her hand on his. Like, there you go. Kind of thing.
He just sparks. He'll totally use the guy's breath. So, then, Lady May, since you have made the decision for me, you are safe?
I'm safe.
Good.
Not much of a safer place to be than exactly where I am.
I'm glad you feel that way.
Of course I do.
And why is that?
Admittedly, there was a lot less personal space those times, but this has always been the safest place for me.
Just gets out the breath, like, well. Now who is being bashful?
There's a lean over just to see if it's him this time. Like, oh, really?
It's just a smirk on his face.
Well, there's not much room for personal space on a horse's back or when you're being pulled nearly dead out of a tunnel.
There's not.
So, close to you has always been safe for me.
Well, kind of just pats her hand. You know, it's not very like, well, I'm glad, you know? Very genuine, you know?
But yes, I'm fine. My friend who came with me is fine. You're finally fine. Stubborn, intent to wait aside.
I learned my stubbornness from you. Gives a small, like, roll out of his tongue.
It's almost like, oh, kind of expression. For me,
Yes, from you.
I'm not stubborn. What makes you say I'm stubborn?
Oh, I don't know, Lady Maeve.
stubborn. I was
Stubborn.
ill-informed.
Stubborn.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've changed a great deal.
Stubborn.
I'm practically a chameleon.
Stubborn. I'm just gonna keep repeating it until you admit it.
That sounds very stubborn of you.
I wonder where I learned it from.
Oh, heaven knows. You've been here for so long before I came around. How would I
I
ever?
know. It's almost as if I learned it from a certain lady, outsider lady.
You know, for all I know, you were stubborn the whole time long before I came.
Perhaps.
I bet if I asked Fiona, she'd say so.
Well, you just have to wait for that.
Ah, but one day I'll know the real truth.
Hmm.
She leans over a little bit. It's that you're already stubborn.
If, by the way, you have some trouble sleeping, my tent is not too far.
Thank you.
You had mentioned that before.
Yeah.
I did not wish to ask you in front of your packing lest they construed the wrong idea.
That is just smart. Even if they didn't, who knows who's ever is listening, anyways. Ruffles her hair like, meh. People
If
are
you
weird.
wish, if you are having bad dreams, I do not mind. He just gives her very. It's such a non-verbal. Like he puts his hand on hers and squeezes, but it's such a non-verbal way to say more than what he's saying.
She does give. I mean, it's the light squeeze back. It's the acknowledging, answer to it. Everyone else acts like I'm nuts for it.
Guru have bad dreams when facing a great enemy. It is only natural. We do what we do, but we can be affected by it. It is the human part of our soul that is affected.
And I know, and I've seen other people have to go through similar things, but I'm so used to being able to go to someone to feel better, to feel safer. And I mean, I did to Sean once, and he fell out of his bed. He panicked. So
Well, I will do my best not to.
I'd appreciate it if you didn't panic seeing me.
I would worry. That is the most I would do.
I don't feel like it'd be for the same reason.
I'll be worried for your well-being.
Yeah. Definitely not the same reason.
Why is he kind of leans forward? What do you mean?
I think he made the half asleep assumption most people would when a woman climbs into their bed in the middle of the night, and that's why he panicked.
Ah,
Everyone, it's so strange to be in a place full of people that aren't ashamed of their bodies and yet have them be that jumpy about being close to each other.
you say everyone.
Obviously, not you.
Many on this sept are well used to pack bonding. As long as it keeps within the bounds of the litany, of course.
Obviously.
So, it kind of gives a spread of his hands, where Fianna is what is the very thing that we are bred to do, is to be close to each other, to form bonds of brotherhood and friendship.
there's a head bobble. I mean, it's one of those things where it makes perfect sense to her.
And I will admit, I do have a certain fondness for you, but that is between us.
I'm sure the ears of every gossip we've ever known are burning all at the same moment.
Depending on the right gossip, it could potentially be.
Kind of puzzled side glance, like, what?
Well, you know how gossips are. Some, if you believe the stories, are lamenting the fact that neither of us are kin.
I did hear that.
So, gossips will tell you many different things.
Well, just about anything they hear.
Just about.
Give me 2 seconds to get Bob it out. Oh, and I am back. And yeah, Maeve, to be fair, as they're talking, does, all talk of gossips aside, is fairly comfortable in the chair and just. It's probably thoughtless. It's not like a super seductive anything. It's just, since he's had his hand on hers, it's the idle, like, brush of the thumb periodically just because, oh, yep, still there.
Hmm. I wanted to give you something that I never got to give you on Beltane.
He's got her interest, or it kind of like pops up. Just a little turnaround.
He just walks past, like, ease up, close your eyes.
Okay. She finally, like, does a little, like, oh, I should probably sit up, and, pulls herself up a bit.
Stand up. It's
Oh,
important that this means what it means.
okay. So she eases up, and if he, guides her that way, we'll step away from the chair, whatever have you. She doesn't know how much
He
air
does.
space he needs.
He does.
And, once he seems content with, this right here, she will obediently close her eyes.
Yeah. Walks back over very. You can hear footsteps just do. Opens up a box. Comes back. And you'll feel something go on the top of your head. And you'll find something kind of just gently tie onto your hand.
Yeah, there's like the little curious, like, when your brow kind of like furrows a bit, like, huh.
You'll just go, open your eyes.
Okay.
And you'll find he has hand fastened your right hand with his. And he put a hawthorn crown on the top of your head.
All right. I might. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'll have to ask you what the Hawthorn crown is generally for.
Go back to the post that I made about Beltane.
Ooh,
Remember, I did a whole thing about it.
that's right. You did. But yeah, it's one of those things that, especially, I mean, initially blinking the eyes open, she'll glance down to what she can see, which is her wrist. And the smile that just crawls its way onto her lips it's just. It's so simple and so just honest and earnest. It's not putting on a face. It's not like the childish glee even. It's just like it has to grow its way there. It doesn't just slap on quickly. Though if they are hand fasted, she does give the hand a squeeze because that would mean that he'd probably need to be holding it.
Mm-hmm. Since yes, I wanted to make sure you got that. And since it's only just you and me.
Pardon as I'm going back and reading.
Basically, the people typically give like mayflowers to each other. A crown is a symbol, like it's like a proper symbol of like how important it is. Like the den father gave the den mother, his wife, a crown of hawthorn. Hawthorn's one of the flowers that people wore in their hair on Valentine.
Oh.
Yes,
Sorry, I'm not as familiar with hawthorn. It doesn't really grow over here. So
yes.
it's not one that I pull up a picture in my head as soon as I hear it. Oh, she again, it's like she's feeling it out. It's one of those things where seeing it, I mean, she never questioned being close to Daniel, but it still means a lot to see it. And she does, the fingers do eventually of the other hand come up to just lightly touch the crown, see what it is. And it just grows. And it's I mean, it's one of those things where if she could glow. Thank you. It means a lot to me. You didn't take it badly that we didn't have the opportunity then, but I don't think I realized how much it would mean to me. Until now.
You reach over and you'll feel the soft like peck of his lips on the top of your forehead. Nothing romantic or anything. It's just it's deeper than that.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because she's like teary eyed over it. It's not romantic. It's just, it feels good to feel loved and to see symbols of it, even if it is in a non romantic fashion. You brought all these things out here with you.
Of course. I figured
Same.
I could steal you away for at least some time alone. Without any prying eyes judging every move we make.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I'm glad that you like the gift.
I do. I'm trying very hard not to cry.
This gives her like the oh you.
That's the whole. I'm being emotional. Don't make fun of me.
I think we both know you'll fail at that.
Sometimes I don't cry.
Sometimes.
Just a little lean in, like I'm not crying. I just want to lean on you. Nothing to do with the crying I'm not doing. Ugh. And it's not
Well,
like she's getting theatrical. It's just the My eyes are sweating. Shut up.
Perhaps when the evening patrol is done for you, like I said, you have nightmares. I would not have you sitting up screaming on your own. Fiona used to have them too, and I was well versed in how to deal with them.
She did?
When she was very young, yes.
Yeah, honestly, she looks weirdly relieved because I think kids just have nightmares.
So if you need to, I would pass no judgment, nor would I encourage such judgment as should you stop by or wish to stay.
Thank you. Um, do you have to worry about anyone coming running in or something? And
I think it's more you do a couple of patrols, make sure everything is kosher. Then that seems to be the prerogative that I've organized with the right master.
yeah,
Make sure that everything is, you know, a continuous cycle. It seems like the more healthy approach.
it does.
So if you could check out the stream for me, I would be much appreciative.
Be happy to.
Mia gives her hand a squeeze.
Thank you, Daniel.
There's no problem, Lady Mae.
I don't know how you think of something like this on top of everything else you have to think about.
I was hoping I could just make you smile. At least once before war dictates many other things that we do.
Well, you did. You smiled so hard, you made me cry. Like there's a little hand rub of like, I was lying. I definitely. Ugh.
Well, could be a good time for you to go dry your eyes.
Right. It's probably a good idea. Just out of
Yeah.
curiosity, what style is the cord he used?
Oh, it's one of the red cords, which means it lasts longer. Deep
No.
deep red, so it's actually built to last longer.
No. It's funny because I mean, again, it's not like that, but it's still one of those things where it really is an overt show, and it's one of those things where she hates to have to pull her hand out, and honestly before she leaves she'll probably have to take the crown off her head,
Mm-hmm.
but even when she does take a moment holding it, thumbing through the flowers, just appreciating it for what it is. Should probably tuck this somewhere here. Okay.
Just gives a nod of his head.
Yeah, she'll offer it back over. In fact, you know what? When he comes forward to take it, just to be a bit of a tease, because it's no fun if you can't tease your friends. She does like reach up and like dunk, smiles a bit.
Smirks. Go on, I'll be waiting here.
All right. And yeah, with that, she'll take a second to wipe the cheeks, make sure she's good, compose, and then yeah, come back out with a reasonably easy little smile.
So you're kind of looking over this area here. It's kind of like the marshland. You kind of trace along some of the forest. You trace along there. It's basically like double checking that everything's kind of legit in the Umbra. It's nothing hard. You know what I mean? It's
Make sure
kind
the
of
spirits her content, making sure she
Mm-hmm.
knows who's assigned to what, because the right master's already been through and set up whatever needs setting up, I imagine.
But eventually, Maeve, as you check some of the forest path over, you're a bit away from the camp at this point. It's just kind of doing that kind of border. You do hear another whistling noise, as if
Oh,
someone is trying to signal you.
is it a bird call again?
No,
Oh, thank
different,
God.
different. This sounds more. It's not like a bird. It sounds more like what are they called? Fuck, fox.
Yeah, it's a brown knit, but it worked so well last time that she's gonna follow the noise again.
Yeah, you start stepping. You get closer, and you can see a small little fox den, essentially.
Yeah, there's the knit of the brow, like the fuck.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, man, how does the fuck does he do it? Just like an ethereal shadow just comes up behind you.
Oh,
So,
cool. A fucking fox den, and she's just kind of got the head tilt, like, okay, maybe I shouldn't get closer to that. And yet,
what do you do? Do you let it start? Do you make a noise? What do you do? Anything at all?
I mean, more than anything, she gets the impression that someone is suddenly behind her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just it's the natural reaction to turn a glance. Probably not expecting anything terrible, but it's just the eyes widen. The oh shit, because he is. She might have been leery if she'd heard a bird whistle, but she didn't expect him to be this close to everything they're doing. Jesus Christ! But no,
And
she doesn't yell because she just the eyes get big.
he just very calmly puts a finger on his lip. I am maybe breaking protocol, but considering the mass movement of your people, it had grew me a concern. You could imagine why.
No, it's nothing like that.
It's so weird that he doesn't blink.
Yep. Nothing that should have you worried.
Watch it, you whispered way too low for me.
She's just like it's nothing like that, and then it's nothing that should have you worried.
Very well. Though I did spot the gleaming eye among the troop line. Shouldn't I be worried?
Oh, we're going to do battle with the worm.
Very well. Anything else you need to tell me?
I did finally get a chance to look in on her and her pack, and she are very tense, very affected by the recent news, but I'm sure
I'm
they'll
sure you'll
push
be able
forward.
to comfort them in their hour of need.
It's a bob of the head. I am still working on this all for you, too. I haven't forgotten.
No, you have not. Doesn't say this when he's spite or like, oh no, you have, that type of thing. It's just very cold acknowledgement.
All right. I'm going to ask an interesting version of how to direct my peony.
Okay.
Is this the look that like your dad gives you when he's just seeing like, just reinforcing something, or is he the I obviously know something and I expect, I'm looking to see if you'll fess up type thing?
It's explain the first bit again.
So, like, when a parent is staring you down and being like, is there anything else you want to tell me? Sometimes it's just to see, is there something else that, it's exactly what it sounds like. And sometimes it's, is there something you want to tell me because I know it and this is your opportunity?
I'll give you this for free. If he wanted to know it and he knew you knew something, he wouldn't play that game. You've seen him.
No, no, he really wasn't subtle about it
No,
when he wanted something.
he wouldn't play that game. Like I'm just gonna give you that straight up because you've seen it enough. He would not play that game with you. If he knew you knew something, he'd find out.
I'm trying to think because I don't know whether or not he still has access to Sept, but I do know he has
Now,
control over her. So,
well, I'm about to make you sweat. So there is something I did want to ask you though. I do not know if you're aware yet.
please go ahead and ask.
I have heard reports of a new, well, I could hear it on the winds, of a new cub being born, and a potentially new kin arriving of my blood.
They came
I've
just
heard whispers.
they came just before we set out.
And what do you know of them, Lady Maeve?
I know that they are Silverfang kin.
It just takes a couple of, like, it's like a step. Just kind of that lean in, like, oh, really? You know what I mean? Not trying to be threatening, it's more like he's keening in.
And that with current events being what they are, one of them did find himself affected by the stresses of it and did go through a first change.
What house? Do you know?
Oh god, I'm scared to lie to him. I'm fucking scared.
Well, here's the advice the warrior gave you. Play to your strength. Is lying a strength of yours? Then don't play. That was his advice. Play to your strengths.
They're they're gleaming eye, I think. Kin that were overseas and were brought back.
Very interesting.
They seem to be very shaken by everything they've seen there.
Thank you for telling me.
What's a bob with the head?
Means I am trusting you more. He reaches and kind of lifts up your chin so you can look into his eyes.
Oh boy.
Means you back up with what you say. And you say you wish to be in my confidence.
Thank you. Yes. I haven't been able to spend much time with them. I was called over after his change to make sure he was alright. And wasn't able to.
Would you be trusted to spend more time with them?
Yes, I have a lot of experience in speaking to fresh changes, helping them adjust.
Very well. Very well. Hmm. Then gather all you can. After all, if the enemy are breeding a new generation, they must be observed, don't you find?
Yes, of course. Make sure that they don't take on the
Make sure they do not multiply. Because I will teach you something about the gleaming eye, Lady Macfion. He reaches over and it's like he's touching your skin and it's like, huh, it's soft. Strange. Strange. That's literally the vibe that you pick up of him because I'll be real. He's so expressionless when he does convey it. It almost seems like a foreign object to you. You know what I mean?
It's just one of those things where he reaches out and touches, and finding her to be, I mean, she may be a crow, but she's still very soft. And it's, oh, the fact that he gets caught up in that is kind of mystifying and very unnerving.
I have not touched soft skin in a long time. It is as unnerving as I anticipated it to be.
Unnerving?
Yes.
I find it unnerving.
Because of how foreign it is.
Is he still like touching her cheeks, her face, or
Cheek. No, not like anyway. This is the creepy part. It's not in any way. Like Daniel was intimate but not romantic. This is just like analyzing. This is for you know what I mean? There's no emotion there. Or if it is, it's so stunted.
yeah? I mean, she's not going to step away from him. She's not going to step into him. She's kind of left not studying him the way he's studying her. He's very calculating, I imagine, and is just kind of taking everything he's seeing and feeling and filing it. And she's just looking up with the big blue eyes and trying to understand. More like it would probably look very childish by comparison. Guess you haven't seen much of your family in a very long time.
No. No, I have not.
I'm sorry.
Doesn't know how to take that, so he just nods, like acknowledged. You know what I mean? Like noted. It's that type of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing as you are repaying me with such kindness, If this business is done with the gleaming eye here sooner than I expect, the offer of hospitality of my people would be yours to extend, should you prove to be a true ally. Not just for the political pleasures.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, the eyebrows lift just a little bit because
It's very Silverfang. It's you've been kind. Do you know what I mean? If that proves to be true, do you know what I mean? I will technically owe you. It's that vibe you're picking up. You know what I mean?
if you can do this service for me, the least I can do is ensure that you're offered hospitality in return.
Yep.
Makes
Very,
sense.
very Silverfang.
And I hope the time comes when I can see that hospitality.
You will be treated well. No harm would come to you under the laws of yours and mine.
And you know what? This is probably the first time she can manage even a brief kind of smile, but it seems so matter of course. It's so ingrained that of course she wouldn't. That she does the kind of when you're reassuring someone with a smile, just never dreamed it would. Not under hospitality. Of course not.
Let me just check something. All right, Maeve. It's at that moment he kind of twists his head. And oh, Maeve, the speed he moves at is awe-inspiring. Because as soon as he does, you find yourself just the tree that you're kind of pushed back up against kind of doesn't even sharply thud. It's so light. It's like a feather. At the same time, with enough speed and force just to place you there. You see his eyes narrow just a tiny bit.
Is this him retreating from something else out there or just snagging Maeve and pulling him for no discernible reason?
It's definitely not something that you can discern. He hasn't heard anything. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost as like you watch the gears turn in his head. It's like he's thinking something, and then it's like his own mind tells him he has to do something, and he just pushes. You know what I mean?
So he just slips in and like essentially puts her back against a tree.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean she'll look startled.
And just keeping her there, he just says very coldly, "But should I find anything being false?"
I remember.
Good. I apologize, but I have to remind you of that.
Think there would ever come a point when you wouldn't.
When you have earned it. Yes, earned. But a man in my position, would you trust someone as doe-eyed as you without the proper trial?
If I was in your position, I don't know that I would trust anyone.
Then you have given an even wiser answer.
Yeah, there's the little nod of like, okay, I understand. I'm not gonna freak out because I understand.
And he just releases the hand away from like where he had just pressed it. Just very carefully, very slowly. Again, apologies.
You have to keep yourself and the people you care about safe.
It is a matter of course, yes.
So, I understand.
And until you mark as that, I will always have to remind you.
Until what?
You mark yourself as that. Safe.
Oh, okay. That would be a very, very poor Yana. I didn't understand taking care of your people.
Good. I have no interest in your activities against the worm. That is your tribe's business.
Mm. You know what? Okay, play to the strengths. Whew.
Like it's like the water advice: play to your strength. Play what you can play on the field. You know.
Yeah, so she will do because it immediately popped up as something she might think. I know it's not your business, and I know that it is a risk taking any kind of action. But if after you've done what you came here to do, you want it to mean growing alliances, these spirals have been opposition to the sept for the better part of a generation. Knowing that you rendered aid would have real meaning, even if they didn't see you in the moment, even if it was nowhere near our camp.
And he just steps forward and, oh, Maeve. When he looms, he really does fucking loom.
She understands that this is, it sounds like a lot of an ask, but she doesn't want him to think that she is trying to pull one over on him. And she's really not. It's a suggestion. So she doesn't shrink as though she's been caught out on something. She just quiets down a little bit and lets him get into position, and who really hopes he isn't mad enough to hit her.
If anything, he just turns with one finger your cheek to fully face his cold, dead eyes. And if I did this for you, what would you do for me? The benefits aside.
I don't know what you need besides what you've asked for.
What are you willing to offer? You may know not what I need, but offers still may appeal. We are theurges, aren't we not?
Yeah, let me just get the timer real fast. All right. So, we are Theurges, aren't we? Whew. Well, she'll meet the eyes, even though, oh, Jesus, whether or not there is currently a rank gap, there, even if there wasn't currently a rank gap, those fucking years of experience and needs weigh a ton. I could intervene for your allies in Ormfall who came to the south.
Yes, those bumbling, belligerent fools do make a tidy distraction, don't they?
They do.
While it does turn everybody away from the house of the king. Sometimes sacrifices must be made. After all, one could even say the Fianna's internal conflict does provide an interesting reception. Allow some cooler heads to prevail. So I am listening. What are you proposing?
I have spoken to several groups about them, and in the end, it does benefit you if one side is chosen over the other. But that side can't be chosen if people who are hot headed and angry go out and do something
Mm-hmm.
foolish.
So what are you proposing then, Lady Maeve?
I will make sure the cooler heads prevail.
And what do you wish in return? A spiral head at your doorstep? Glory? Or perhaps one presented for you to bring to the sept itself?
The eyebrows kind of lift a little bit at the last one, like, and I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not gonna try to subterfuge over it. It's very much the
Though
expression of you can do that.
I will say the Blood Queen, as she is called, will be beyond my reach and capability. And I do not know where this one of rags may lay, but she is quite capable. I will commend her for that. Though I do hear of a certain priestess flaunting herself around these parts. Would you like her? I imagine that will curry favor with your crown, prince. Such a shame you cannot two can be wed. Would be most suitable to our needs, wouldn't it? But then again, you do have more power over him than perhaps he even realizes himself, which is most amusing to see.
Not sure what you mean.
That's when the looming finally just culminates in the whisper in your ear, liar. But your own self-deception is not my concern. What are you wanting?
So, honest question, and you can tell me, figure it out. If members of the Sept could get a hold of one of even the younger spirals alive, one of the fresher ones, would they actually keep them that way and make use of it, or would it be one of those things where it's like, nope, slaughter time?
If you get into the water, maybe. Oh, he'd have a field day.
Ooh,
Oh.
yeah, actually, he would. So even if it's not, the Tower or the Blood Queen, one of the younger ones is
No,
probably seen enough.
you do really. He even said the Blood Queen is beyond his
Oh
capability.
yeah, the Blood Queen, but getting the little Theurge. Ooh,
Yeah, if you could get her to the water, if you could convince Daniel to get her to the water, very
ooh,
easy. And you don't think the water's watching?
yep. The priestess, if you can get her life, it would change the entire flow of things.
Define alive.
Able to speak, able to answer questions. It could
Ah,
make a huge difference.
very well. I will have her for you. Your siege will be a considerable amount of time. This will make matters difficult. You do understand this. However, I will ensure that she is not affected by this siege. You will know when and where to find her. Look for the fox.
Oh,
Or the. You lean in, and then I expect restitution.
I will make sure that cooler heads prevail,
Good.
as promised.
Now, hold still.
Ooh, he sees the little bit of the brace. Oh god, what's happening?
And he just reaches his hand out and just plants a kiss on your palm. But when he does, you feel the slight tingling sensation. As this little spider web kind of wraps around your palm.
I mean, again, it's the younger Theurge making the. But what is that face?
And then the web disintegrates, but you do see a little kind of sting mark essentially. Like it's like it stung you, but to anyone else it just look like hives. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and it's dude, the types of things that people call hashtag spider bites are usually pretty fucking mild.
That will do nothing to you, but it is a mark between us to know that the debt is owed. It will leave you once you have paid it. But should you break it, the poison is most deadly. You could survive very easily for one of your tribe to survive poison, but you'd be in the most excruciating pain.
I don't intend to break my word.
Again, in a man in my position, Lady Maeve, lifts up your chin, cannot afford to take chances. Can he?
No, of course not.
Precisely. You do not need to reaffirm your word, merely live by it. You have so far impressed me with your conduct. This is me giving you the test to reaffirm it. Think of it as a mark of respect. If I did not believe you, would I really be entertaining the notion?
No.
Very well. Now, you'll be expected soon.
So the little nod, like, yeah, well, that's a thing that'll happen.
He just steps into the bushes. Doesn't back away slowly, just turns and just walks.
And I'm betting after like maybe 2 steps max, I'm not even going to hear him anymore.
Nope. You hear a crunch and then silence. Not even 2 steps, just a crunch noise and gone.
Yep. There's that moment of I'm just going to take one good breath in. I'm going to hold it a second until I stop having the palpitations. And I'm going to let it out.
How you doing, Maeve? Yeah.
She does pick the hand back up and glance at the palm again, just like, ooh.
It just looks it's like an insect bite. It looks like you just got like a nasty hive.
Yeah.
It doesn't look anything like life threatening. Even most people would be like, oh, that's just a nasty bite, but nothing that would be in a way considered life threatening, not in a way that would attract so much attention that you could just easily brush it off.
Yep. It's just looking at it, knowing what it is, and going, whew. And as she does finally step up from where she was pressed against the tree, step back out to where she's supposed to be, she'll run her fingers back through her hair because, ooh, are there still leaves in there?
Yep.
Shit. That's how we knew.
Sees everything.
Yep. She runs the fingers back through her hair, realizes, feels the little, leaves, maybe petals, whatever have you, and it's just like, up. He knows exactly where I just came from, too. Shit. Like,
I mean, look, play to your strengths, man. You managed to get a deal out of him. And information.
she is fucking shocked.
Hey? Not so. I mean, when Maeve's walking back is something to think about.
Yeah, she's just rolling over everything she's heard, probably more thinking than keeping an eye like she's supposed to be, but then again, she knows what's out there now. Oh,
It's
so much
something.
worse than what they're looking for.
It's something to think about. He doesn't trust you, no, but you're proving yourself to him. You've appealed to his conduct. In a way, Maeve, being honest and straightforward has saved your life.
And it's actually gotten me somewhere that lying never would have gotten me. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
little shaken that he's so close, but
It's almost like Tristan McNessa put you here deliberately.
yeah, he's back at Sept, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Never far away, though.
Oh no, he's got a pair of eyes somewhere.
It's got nowhere to look.
I'm trying to remember what other symbols he's used besides a lion.
Owl.
Yeah,
It was an owl.
it's one of those things where she's, walking along and probably idly, rubs a thumb over the palm because right now it just looks like a bug bite, but she knows what it is and she's percolating over it, wants to see if it's sensitive to anything, if it itches. And she will let the eyes stray up to the branches.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me see, do I have this picture? Oh, I don't. Give me 1 second because I do have the perfect picture for what's going to be looking at you.
Oh boy. Oh.
Hope you're ready. So, like above you,
slumpiest little. Oh, Jesus. I mean, the best part is she has no way of knowing if that's a matter of a coincidence, but it's still like she looks up and did she get eye contact off the owl?
No, just
Just
I mean,
doing
not direct eye contact, but it's fucking owls. Just like you look up, you look up at it, it looks up at you, down at you with that kind of like the way owls kind of act.
Yeah.
But, oh, the fuck you doing? You know what I mean? The fuck do you want? You know what I mean?
She's just there's that moment she just keeps walking, but like she's just like, huh. I mean, he's not a third, but who even fucking knows, man? She
Does
doesn't
have a
know
lot.
who he's working
He
with.
does. He does have a lot of friends.
He does have a lot of friends. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like, man.
Oh yeah, it even goes whoo while dementedly staring at you now.
She'll make the noise back. She can't. It's an impulse. It's like a young person impulse. She hears the noise, she mimics it back to the best of her ability. And of course, you're the color of the moon. Or wouldn't you be? Fucking stare. I can't. I mean, she's not going to just stand there and talk to an owl. She will keep moving, but she does comment and tease it with owl noises on her way past because.
I'd laugh if you went into the Umbra to talk to it.
You know what? That motherfucker didn't see me that long ago. I'm not going to go being like, hi, are you a spy? While there's an assassin nearby. That's just. Oh. I want to be fair.
It looks after about 20 seconds, and then, as you go, whoo, it just flaps the fuck away like, ugh. Do you know what I mean?
You're a dick.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the exact expression. Humans.
Perfect. Oh, she will finally leave her hand alone as she does head back to camp. But
would you like to end it there?
Yes, for meow. Oh.
Yeah.
And yes, you know exactly where she's going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, he is more than happy to give you like sweet tea and stuff that can help you actually sleep. Like not like drugs, but do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Or like actual like herbal tea and stuff that's actually proven to like help you sleep and relax. And he's actually really nice. Daniel's actually really nice about it.
She is deeply appreciative of the lack of judgment.
Right, he just minds. Like, he's quite chill about the whole thing.
Considering that he's seen what happens when she uses her own alternative and falls asleep on him in the middle of a walk. You know what? Good man. All right. Well, let me close it up.